Hey everybody, we made it to 10,000 subscribers. I'm so freaking pumped for this channel. But today we're gonna dive straight into my new live looping rig in the studio and exactly how I plug it in. This is kind of exciting. I painted my desk, I got a new sort of light set up, and I've left everything unplugged because I wanna just briefly show you guys exactly how I plug all of my equipment into there and how I get a YouTube video to you when I'm performing live for my looping rig. Okay, so I usually use two cameras. One is on a gimbal that my beautiful wife is behind right now. And then the other one is mounted up on the ceiling. You can see it right there. A little magnetic mount, kind of works for me, works perfect. We use iPhones. I've used DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, and I love them to pieces, but with the new technology for me, iPhones are just working really great. And the sacrifice is pretty easy. So, working right on from the phones, I'm gonna go to the lights. Now this is brand new. I made it, so I guess it's not particularly new, but it's got some LED light panels in the back. And I got this kind of honeycomb grid. It was about $16 off Amazon. I built a nice timber box and I used a shower curtain for the diffuser in there.
I think it's pretty cool.
Basically the same light that I had didn't have the honeycomb and it kind of washed out this entire space. It made my white studio desk really visible in my shots, and I just thought it didn't really give a really key concentration on the subject. That's my new kind of lighting setup, and then I still have my backlight, which I think is very important to have opposite the key light. Kind of gives this kind of silhouette sort of vibe.
And I love it.
And with that, I did actually paint my studio desk. I painted it black. I did love the whitewash, was a huge favorite of mine, but I went with the black. It kind of seamlessly blends into the background and the wall now. And I'm really kind of digging it. I've got a new MacBook. Unfortunately, my studio computer totally died at the start of this year. And like most independent artists, we're not ready to drop money on new equipment earlier than necessary, but it was something that I had to do. My setup is still the same, except my computer's a different computer, it's a new one. I want to dive straight down into these pedals now. Excuse my brand new Ugg boots that I got for Christmas, these red bad boys. Love them to pieces. All right, I left everything unplugged. I'm about to head to a show this afternoon, so I've taken it out of my road case. I've got it all kind of connected, taped together, zip tied together, back to my interface back there, which we'll talk about in a sec. But down here, I've got my Headrush, I've got some assorted pedals, a brand new one some of your keen eyes might have noticed, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But essentially, I run 4 cables, 4 XLRs, balanced XLRs out of my Headrush. I have 1 guitar input and 1 microphone input into my Headrush, and I have 1 microphone as the main microphone plugged into my studio. So usually when I run a live rig or a studio rig, I've got 5 channels for my standard everyday kind of setup. Now these are all unplugged. This is my vocal pedal, some guitar effects, some loop effects, etc. If you're interested in all of these, I have a handful of videos talking about the various pedals, the different configurations. Please check that out. But for now, I'm just going to show you exactly where all of these go. So this is coming out of my looper. Obviously my guitar plugs in here. My in-ear monitors plug into here. I have a wired setup for when I'm in the studio. They come just out of the headphone out of my interface, or if you're using a mixer, you would use the headphone out of your mixer. But to keep it all really simple, no RF frequencies, interference, I just keep everything wired while I'm in the studio. So let's follow this past my beautiful mini Maton guitar. This comes all the way back to my gorgeous custom desk that I made on a very low budget. So I've got the brain of my operation here is the Universal Audio Quad Apollo. I absolutely love this. It's got 4 microphone pre's, and it's also got another 4 inputs, which I use with my LA610 Mark II. This is one of my favorite outboard pieces of equipment. That's essentially a channel strip. It's got a microphone pre and it's got a compressor, and it sounds unbelievable. So I use that for my vocals, and then I use the other 4 channels that are direct in with the microphone preamps in my Apollo, totaling 5 channels, which is perfect for me. So it goes into there, runs into my beautiful little MacBook Pro. Essentially in there, I use Pro Tools, and I use Console to direct monitor it to myself. You can always make it a little more polished, and that's what I do in Pro Tools. I mix it a little more, I make it a little more polished, and I can notch out specific frequencies on the EQ. But essentially, what's coming back to my ears is before anything that's mixed, and anything that I'm sending, if I'm doing a live stream, I'm sending it the same mix as what I'm getting in my in-ear monitors straight to the phone that's up that you guys are viewing. Okay, so I'm making a big change to my rig here. Now, anybody who's ever seen me play live in the last 8 years has seen that I've had two microphones. One's been my main vocal microphone, which goes to the front of house, mixed normally. The other one is my secondary microphone, which goes directly into my Loopstation. Now, they're two different microphones, and I've had two specifically different mics because I wanted different characteristics from each. The main microphone, I want just a beautiful, rich vocal sound. And my loop microphone, I wanted a close proximity effect, which the SM58 gave me. I wanted a nice bass response, and I wanted something that didn't pick up too much ambient noise. So I had to deliberately select different microphones based on the application. But now, since I've got the Headrush Looperboard, I'm actually able to EQ the input of my input channels. Now, that's a total game changer for me because it means, for the first time ever, I think I can make one microphone do two microphones' jobs. And I'm kind of excited. So down at my pedal board, I got a brand new microphone AB switch. Now this is just a microphone mute switch, which was on there before. All it is mutes the microphone. I cannot express how important it is to have a mute switch on your loop microphone. There's nothing worse than being in a noisy environment and that secondary loop microphone being on when you're trying to lay something else down. Picks up all this ambient noise and stage noise and muddies up your loop and makes it sound horrible. So I used to use this all the time. Now, the alternate that I have right now is this AB switch. All it does is this foot switch triggers, so there's an input microphone, and then this just triggers that output and then that output. So this output is going straight to my looper. This output is going straight to where my existing vocal microphone went to. The exciting thing is I'm going to be able to use my main vocal microphone, which is my Shure Beta 58A, to do both of those jobs. Now, the difference is when I said before I needed a different EQ, a different configuration with my mic, I'm actually able to EQ that Beta 58 to sound more like the characteristics that I liked from the SM58 on the input. It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of excited to try it out. I'm kind of nervous because I'm used to having two microphones there. I've played thousands of shows with two microphones there. And today is going to be the first day that I only have one. All right, so there you have it. Let me know what you think of my new implementation of the board, the lights, whatever. If you think I should add something that I don't already do, or if you think it's a great idea, give me a thumbs up. Comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, liking, and sharing. I love you guys. Hopefully bringing you more content. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll bring it to you. Cheers. Have a great one.